So I don't know if you're familiar with the book of Mark, chapter 16, verse 17 and 18.
As always, no.
But this is the part of the New Testament where Jesus himself specifically says that Christians can do things like drink deadly poison or be bitten by deadly snakes and survive.
Okay.
So this is the specific part of the Bible that has given rise to like serpent-handling sects of Christianity, where people will, you know, hold snakes, dance around with snakes, things like that.
I've never actually heard of this other than India.
Christians doing it in India, or just...
No, I've never heard of Christians doing it.
Right, okay, well,
so this is news to me.
I've heard of it a little bit. Apparently the practice is dying out. Less and less people actually find themselves willing to, you know, play with deadly snakes and risk being bitten. So recently, a Pentecostal pastor by the name of Mack Wolford died in West Virginia. He was a snake-handling preacher, and he was 44, and unfortunately he was bitten by a, what was it called? A yellow timber rattlesnake in church, and it killed him. And this
in front of his congregation?
Well, he was bitten in front of the congregation, and he was taken back to a trailer to recover. It was his mother-in-law's trailer, and his mother was there, and a lot of people were there present for... he died over a period of like 10 hours.
Okay.
And apparently it's really uncomfortable way to die. The poison attacks your nervous system. It's really excruciating, and just it's a grueling way to go. And I find this story really unfortunate from the point of view of this pastor's mother, actually, because this man's father, her husband, died the exact same way. When this man was 44, Mack Wolford was 44.
Why would the son do it? If he saw his dad die the same way.
Because I'm sure there's a whole bunch of psychological issues of trying to live up to the father or something like that, but his father believed this way, and so did he. And I actually wonder if the idea that his father died this way made him want to do it more, to prove that, you know, that in fact Christians can handle deadly snakes.
Yeah, but the only thing about that would be you'd be proving that your father was maybe somehow not as righteous,
as faithful as you thought. Yeah, well, regardless, I was saying the reason that I find this story sad is not for this guy, but for his mother, who his father died when he was 39. The father was 39.
Right.
Mack Wolford was 15 at the time. So she was a relatively young wife, probably, you know, mid-30s maybe. Her husband died, and now her oldest son has died in the exact same way. And that's just like, it's this human suffering that doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to happen.
Right.
There doesn't need to be people who do this, you know, because they think somebody 2,000 years ago. It's such like an afterthought in the Bible, you know. It's one verse where Jesus kind of makes this statement of like, yeah, you know, and by the way, poison is like not a thing that you have to worry about. It is within my Dungeons and Dragons powers as a god to prevent poison from being able to harm you. You get +2 to saving throws versus poison.
Right.
Who takes this seriously? I mean, come on. I mean, it's just so...
Well, and it's now twice proven wrong. How does that affect the people that have seen this?
And, you know, somebody mentioned, people from his church are saying, you know, well, he died for his faith. And I don't think that that's accurate. I think he died because of his faith. I think his faith caused his death. I don't think that... He didn't die proving it. I mean, really, he died disproving it.
Yeah, he died disproving it, exactly.
But... So he refused medical treatment until it was too late. The paramedics basically arrived and declared him dead.
Already dead.
Or, well, they took him to the hospital where he was declared dead. But his mother...
So he eventually gave in and asked for medical aid?
Right, towards the end, but apparently at that point it was too late. But his mother said about his death and his father's death, I couldn't give up when his dad died, and now that Mack's given his life, I just can't give it up. It's still the Word, and I want to go on doing what the Word says. I kissed him and promised him I would see him again. It just...
What?
I guess it's that fallacy of the idea of she's lost so much to this. It's like admitting that it's wrong.
Yeah, admitting
it's like she's too deep in.
Yeah.
To just because then if she admitted that like okay, apparently this is wrong, it's not true, this is not how it works, then it's like she has to admit that she lost both her oldest son and her husband for nothing. And the thing that really kills me about it is when she said, I kissed him and I promised him I would see him again. Okay, so I think everybody knows at this point, I'm an atheist and you're an atheist. I don't think there's any reason to believe that any of us are ever going to see each other again in some sort of after party.
Right.
And that's what makes this story really sad to me, is this idea that, no, this is your chance to spend your time with your loved ones. And in both the case of her husband and her son, she has lost a lot of years. Yeah. A lot of time that she could have spent with these people, enjoying life. It's just like, this is your chance. If I want to be with the people I love, I have to do it now. And I have to cherish it because it's finite. And there's not some after party that we're all going to that makes it okay. That kills me. Like I really feel for this woman, and I really feel bad for her. But at the same time, you know, I want to. It's.
I think the paradox of it is actually more like hard on me. The idea that she, like you saying, she can't let go of that. Now that
she's lost too much.
She's seen it proven wrong twice, and yet somehow she's like, no, it's still right. It's still the word. Right. And how do you get to that place? I mean, that's exactly where we have these, you know, when the biblical scriptures don't line up, they're like, well, just beat your head against the wall until it makes sense.
Exactly. No, that's exactly what this is.
Exactly. I find that more kind of depressing, that now that she's seen it, I mean, if this is supposed to be a verse that shows you the truth of the book, and she's seen it fail twice now. Right. And still refuses to take that to the heart. Right. How are we ever supposed to find the true truth of anything if you just be like, no, I just believe, even though there's something that I can use as proof for this, and it still doesn't work, but I still believe it anyway.
It's something that I think most Christians do, where they take everything from the Bible, they take everything from reality that agrees with the Bible, and they say, so see, it's true. Right. But then all the things that discount it, they ignore. Exactly. They put that away, they don't talk about it. It's taking the stuff from the study, the scientific study, that agrees with you, and then ignoring all the other things that don't. And that's a really dangerous way, I think, to make decisions in your life about anything.
This proves that that's a very dangerous decision to make.
Right. I mean, if you had a drug, you know, if you had some kind of medical condition, and, you know, you said, all right, well, here's this drug, and 1% of the time it cures this affliction that I have, but 99% of the time it kills the person who takes it. You ignore that 99%. You say, well, 1,000 people recovered. You know, forget the 9,000 people that die. You know, it's like, it's the same thing. It's like nobody would conduct other decisions in their life on information like that. No one would. No one does. Religion is, again, it's the one thing that has this like special privilege. It occupies this part of the human brain, apparently, where it doesn't matter. It's like it doesn't matter how not true it is, how demonstrably not true it is.
If it makes you feel good,
you just go with it, and that it. But you know, I guess at least it's good to see that this practice is dying out. Yeah. And in fact, there were several statements made because. This pastor is very active on Facebook, as we all are, because that's how it's such a good way of getting any information out that you want. Apparently, a lot of people have sort of been commenting. Their faith has really been called into question by this, seeing the fact that Mark 16, verse 17 and 18 are not true, that these are words straight out of the mouth of Jesus, supposedly. And it's in fact not the case that Christians can just survive any bite of a deadly serpent, things like that. So there are some people who can look at it, see that it is not reality, and can actually walk away going, huh. Yeah. Which is good, you know, that's... Somehow. Yeah, I read this story, and I felt so bad for this guy's mother, and because I see it from the standpoint of this is human suffering that doesn't even need to happen. Right. But, at least it's going away, which is good.
Better than nothing.
Yep. Outcasts out.